Hello everyone, Super here, and it is a cold night, but I wanted to discuss a topic that has come up a few times on stream, and it's a topic I genuinely enjoyed discussing, and that is killer strengths. Now, when I talk about this, I want to make it clear that I'm not coming from a standpoint of I want killers to be stronger or weaker, or I think anything in particular, but we'll dive into that in 1 second. If you don't know who I am, I'm super. I play a lot of DBD. I have over 5,000 hours in the game. I do mainly play killer, but I do dabble in survivor here and there. And more than anything, I just enjoy discussing DBD things. And none of my videos are necessarily about swaying you one way or the other. I just want to open the door for discussion. But yeah, let's talk about killer power. So the reason I talk about this a lot, is because um, I feel like a lot of people say killers are either too strong, too weak, or really take into account a killer's power versus the map layout. Remember that DBD is an RNG based game, so tiles can spawn differently and different tiles can affect different killers' power, as well as the devs' buffs and nerfs to killer power specifically. In a lot of cases, well, most recent one specifically is the Blight's collision changes. They've made it so Blight's collision is now much harsher. Blight can no longer do the hug tech and get what a lot of people would call quite easy hits. And this happens here and there throughout the course of DBD's lifetime. But I feel like whenever a new killer comes out, everyone expects or wants the killer to be an S tier killer or an A tier killer on the killer side, and then on the survivor side, everyone wants him to be what is generally considered a C tier killer, someone like Freddy or maybe Myers or Legion or Trapper. And I think it's really unrealistic for everyone to expect either the killer that they want to be in S tier or the killer that they don't like to be in C tier. um, it's a very difficult thing to balance, but I actually think most killers, especially killers that are coming out from here on out, should probably be somewhere in the middle, be A tier. I've had the most fun with killers like Nemesis, Wesker, Huntress, and Nemesis is widely regarded as middle of B tier. Huntress is maybe low A, high B. Wesker is pretty high A tier, widely considered by some of the different content creators. But even in my experience, Huntress is nowhere near as strong as she used to be, and I don't inherently know why. I used to basically main Huntress for my first 2,000 hours on DBD, and those weren't dedicated to just playing Huntress. Obviously, I had other killers mixed in there. I played some Survivor, but I always felt like before I was able to decimate with Huntress. And I really don't know what happened. I actually don't enjoy playing her nowadays. Before, I'd play her M2 only, and I'd get average 3-4K. I would destroy what would be considered bully squads. Um, it was really nice, but I think with the way that the maps have changed, the layouts have changed, some maps have gotten bigger, other maps have got more density, more random things in there, blocking line of sight. It's become a lot more difficult to enjoy certain killers. Mainly collision-based killers. You have Wesker, you have Blight, you have Bubba, you have Billy. There's so many collision-based killers, and it just kind of feels bad sometimes, right? I know Huntress really isn't considered a collision-based killer, but in order to use her power, you have to be able to throw over, through, around things, and it's a really difficult thing to balance. But back to the point. I don't feel like every killer needs to be either really strong or really weak. It's perfectly okay to come out with a killer that is pretty middle of the road to higher end, lower A tier, and people have fun playing that killer. There's so many people who enjoy playing Legion, and I personally believe that Legion is one of the worst killers in the game. After injuring, they're pretty much useless. They don't have the movement that Kaneki has, which Kaneki is considered an S tier killer. And they do something very similar because they can't down with their power. They're not really considered good by any means. You have someone like Nemesis, who I just referenced. I've had the most fun playing him, and I probably play Nemesis the most out of any killer now, and he's widely regarded as a middle-of-the-road B-tier killer because you technically have to damage someone 3 times in order to get them down. And also, if they decide to take their vaccines, then you have to damage an extra time in order to get them down. So, and zombies are really just mediocre, but been the most fun. And I think that that's what it's about. I've had the most fun playing. I also have been playing a lot of Wraith lately, and I don't know why everyone dislikes Wraith. I find Wraith to be super easy to play against. Actually, one of the easiest to play against. But I know people will disagree with me, and I think that could be an experience thing, or it could be a power thing. Maybe I'm just good with Wraith and don't realize it. But, yeah. I just think that there are too many people who want things to be S tier or C tier and nothing in the middle. Behavior, for some reason, you watch this, stop making every killer overly powerful. Kaneki was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. He is an extremely strong killer, and I know that he's been nerfed and he's in a good spot now, but it was terrible. It was a terrible experience playing against him when I was playing on Survivor. And I don't play as him because I refuse to support the having killers be busted on release and then nerfing them very soon after just so they can make sales. But I don't understand why everyone wants killers to be either amazing or bad. Being good and balanced, quote unquote, is important. And maybe it's something that needs to be looked into more. I know that we're running thin on the variations on killers' powers because there's only so many times you can redo the same thing and only so many different variations you can do to make something a little bit more interesting. But I think from what I've seen, Springtrap will be releasing soon. I think that Springtrap is going to be a good medium. From what I've seen, they have multiple powers, so very similar to like Dracula and Vecna. They're not one-dimensional. Their M2 gives different abilities, like the ability to down, or if missed, get Killer Instinct, which I think is really cool. Outside of that, though, they're really just an M1 killer. And I think that Springtrap is going to be the good middle ground of solid killer, but not overly weak, that we need in the game. It's miserable playing against, S tier killers 3, 4, 5 times in a row, and I've gotten it where I've gotten 3 games back to back to back that are all blights, and I'm like, I am just tired of playing against blight and having to concentrate the entire time for a full 15 minutes because they just go from one person to the next. Obviously, I don't want to go against a Legion every game or a Freddy every game either, but I think most killers can be fun to interact with. Obviously, you have like Clown, who no one really enjoys playing against, but I think the majority of killers can be fun. It's just how they're played and how the killer plays as them. And if you're playing killer and you're playing like a B tier killer or a C tier killer or even an A tier killer, know that it's not going to be as easy. Like, you don't need to have your killer character get a 4K every game. You don't have to 4K every game. You don't have to 3K every game, okay? Especially if you're not playing Nurse, Blight, or Spirit, or Kaneki. Like, you're not, it's not realistic to believe that. But it's also not realistic to have every killer be an S tier killer. And for survivors, it's not realistic for every killer to be a C tier killer. So learn counterplay, try to figure it out, and remember that the next game is literally a click away. So if you're not having fun, go next. Anyways, that's my rant. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that killers are in a good spot right now overall? Do you think that behavior is maybe falling short of making engaging and fun killers to play against? Are killers just unnecessarily strong that are coming out, or maybe they're not the greatest? Let me know from your standpoint. If you play killer, play survivor, I really want to know. That's it. I'm out of here. I appreciate all the love and support lately. Thank you guys. You have humbled me so much. And if you want to have conversations with me live, you can find me on Twitch, who I'll leave down below. Twitch TV/simply super. I'm out of here. Thank you guys. Also, I know you guys are going to hear me but won't see me. I did that on purpose. I wanted to include the remainder of this video for the game because this was one of the best games that I've played in a long time. These survivors made it extremely difficult for me to win. It was something that I love. I love the push and pull of the game, and when survivors fight back and force me to use mechanics to win the game, it was so much fun. So I hope you guys are not only enjoying the commentary, but the game itself. If you look back and watch this back and see how well these survivors played, it would shock you. I hope you guys enjoy.